Hello everyone, Richard Tromans here again at Artificial Lawyer TV. Today we're doing something of a news interview in relation to the iManage acquisition of deal management company Closing Folders. With us to tell us a little bit more about the deal is Gordon Cassie, who is the CTO of the Canada-based company Closing Folders. So let's just fill in the people with a bit of background who perhaps maybe didn't see the news yesterday. Gordon, thank you very much for being with us. Can you just tell the audience just a little bit about what Closing Folders does and what has just happened?
Sure. So I'll tell you a bit of the backstory. So myself and my co-founder Sahil, we went to law school together and both worked at kind of downtown law firms doing corporate legal transactions. And I worked at a really small firm doing boutique transactions. He worked at a really big firm doing really big transactions. And on both types of transactions, we saw there was just a chaos of managing these like signature pages all over the place, late nights, doing really kind of basic work, just flip sheet signature pages, making signing packages, and then making closing books. So we saw this common problem and came up with an idea for a piece of software, and that became Closing Folders. And it's a tool we've developed over 7 years. It helps lawyers run legal transactions. It totally automates the process of collecting signature pages, and it totally automates the process of creating closing books at the end.
Gotcha. So how did this come about? So you've been going since about what, 2013, or I guess at least the original seed of the company was 2013. How did you get to this stage of doing what is a deal with a very, very large company?
Yeah, so we've been just kind of continuing along. We really kind of developed this mission of wanting every deal in the world, sounds crazy, but every deal in the world to be run on our platform, Closing Folders, and our software. And so we were kind of hyper-focused on this. And we've had interest over the years, but always just kind of, kept our heads down. But we started working with iManage as a partner a number of years ago and developed a relationship with them. And we really saw, they're a pretty unique company in the legal tech space. They're fully management owned, which is really cool. So they're kind of hyper fixated on making their customers happy and building high quality software. And that really kind of aligned with our objectives. So we started to see in them kind of a possibility of, we could take our platform globally much faster. And more importantly for our customers, we could integrate with the other systems that they're using in a really, really cohesive way that would really kind of supercharge the product. So, when you're choosing to run a deal on a legal transaction management platform, there are some downsides actually. Like putting all the documents into the system takes a bunch of work, and you have to do that in order to get the benefits of the automation. But to the extent you're tightly integrated with the DMS, you can kind of reduce the friction there, so you can pull in documents really easily. And when you're done with the deal, you can sync closing books back into the internal document repository really, really quickly. So we saw it as a really cool opportunity to increase the value proposition of our product through these tight integrations, but also kind of go global with iManage's considerable footprint around the world.
Well, why do this now? I mean, the company is about 7 years old. You were, as you noted previously, the company has been growing very well. Why did you do this deal? Was it driven by consolidation in other areas? So, for example, the Litera purchase of Doxley. Was that a driver? Was it COVID-19? Was it just that iManage made you an offer you can't refuse? What was the thing that made this happen?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was really any of those things singularly, and each of them might have some impact, but really, legal is a small space, so there's only so many players. And in developing a relationship with iManage, and we've had a lot of interest over the years inbound of these types of things, but we really did get a sense that iManage has a very unique culture. Like they were, their story, they were bought by, I think, Interwoven, which was bought by Autonomy, which was bought by HP, and they became part of this giant company. and they had a really negative experience in that stream of acquisitions. And as a result, management bought back the company and took it private again 5 years ago. And so they have a really unique perspective on acquisitions, and really value kind of, like not breaking what you've got. So we saw in them, like, they have this really great culture, and there's only one of them. So, it definitely made it very interesting when we started to talk to them about what this transaction might look like, and something, like maybe we should take a look at this one in detail. And, as we went down the path, it just became more and more interesting. That's kind of how we got here.
So when did they approach you?
I would say it's been an ongoing discussion. Like, we've been partners for a long time. I think, the first kind of seed of an idea of this might have been a year ago. As we started kind of developing closer relationships with some of the more senior people that work there. And then it's just kind of been ongoing, like, relationship development. And then obviously, like, in the past few months, things got a bit more serious, and there was much more kind of pace involved, and about, like, well, let's see if we can actually do something here.
And clearly iManage explained to you why they wanted to acquire you. I mean, what was the logic they presented to you?
I think they're smart guys. I think they see the promise of legal transaction management space, and I think they see that it's going to be a big thing, and they want to be in that market, and they see that, with tight integration between our products, we can have a best-in-class solution. And I think they also saw, like, they spoke to our customers and saw that, we have incredibly happy customers. We build a really high-quality product that people love to use. And I mean, already, now that even just the deal's been done for, public for a day now, we're having customers email saying, like, wow, this is like the best combination we could see, because we love iManage, we love closing folders, and we're, like, really excited to see them work together. So I think, yeah.
And did COVID-19 and the fact that people are not physically signing things, people are not physically, managing at least the paper aspects of deals and so forth, and obviously your platform helps with those things. I mean, was that a driver as well to this?
I wouldn't say the driver for the transaction. I think that as we watch COVID play out, we have seen usage kind of drastically increase, and certainly, like, we used to do webinars, like, last year to train people, and we get, like, 10 people, 15 people. Like, we're routinely getting, like, 50 to 150 people on webinars, just doing basic training for our existing customers. So the interest is definitely, like, skyrocketed. At the same time, it's weird because we are a platform from transactional law. So, if the economy slows down a bit, there's less transactions going on. So you kind of see these competing stats. But yeah, as it's played out, like, we've definitely see it driving people onto the platform, and certainly, customers that were already starting to get high usage numbers, suddenly they, like, charted up a bunch more within a couple of months.
Gotcha. And so what kind of deal was it? Was it just a cash deal? They just paid you out? They just bought you lock, stock, and barrel, or are you going to have some ownership share in return in iManage? I mean, how was the deal constructed?
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to the specifics of the transaction because they haven't been disclosed. I think, yeah, I mean, I can't speak in any detail for that, unfortunately.
Well, it's worth a try. And I'm guessing that you're rather like what happened when iManage bought Raven, and nobody would say anything about it. I imagine that you're not going to say the value.
No, sorry.
So what was last year's revenues for closing folders?
That's also not public, unfortunately. I mean, I think we've developed a really strong business. We had some friends and family investors in the early days. And then we tried to get some venture funding when we didn't really have anything going and didn't get a lot of interest. And then suddenly we had things going and we had a lot of cash, and we just said, well, let's just keep going with this. So we bootstrapped it, built a great business that's been cash flow positive for I think over 2 years now. And I mean, we could go forever, but you know, this is a really interesting way to kind of, again, going back to that vision of like, we want every lawyer to use our product, and the chance that we'll be successful at that is, I think, many orders of magnitude greater if we join forces with iManage.
Gotcha. Just a couple last questions. How big is the company? How big is Closing Folders now?
Yeah, Closing Folders, it's about 15 employees. We just varies based on the, you know, we have different support arrangements. We've been growing that a bit as we're anticipating expanding into other geographies, but yeah, about 15. And we do plan to grow that further after this combination. And one thing that was really encouraging to see, iManage acquired Raven, also acquired Allegrity, and both those teams quickly doubled in size after this acquisition. So they're really like a growth-minded company with their acquisitions.
Gotcha. And really, I guess the last question is, you know, what happens next? I presume you're mostly focused on the US and Canadian sort of North American market. You mentioned international expansion. Will you be opening in London? Will you be? What happens next?
Yeah, I mean, I think global is the obvious path. That said, one of the keys to our success, I think, is being laser focused initially in Canada and then laser focused in the US. And so, you know, we're going to evaluate where it makes sense to go first and be kind of pragmatic about it. But I think that will, you know, be where we're going. And then I think really, you know, we've talking to customers. I mean, I really think the product should start with the customers and the users, talking to users and finding out, you know, exactly how we can integrate these products in a way that will, you know, really supercharge their workflows. And so perfecting that movement, seamless movement of documents from iManage work into Closing Folders and back, which is, you know, over the years has been one of the most hotly requested features. Is like, I just want to move documents in and out of iManage into Closing Folders as easily as possible. I think we're going to be able to deliver on that now. And then integrating with other aspects of iManage, there's lots of promise. You know, with the iManage knowledge solutions, you know, pulling back closing books that have been made in Closing Folders into your iManage repository so that they can be introspected for search, you know, down the line precedent management, you know, some of the Raven's AI-based capabilities, all that type of stuff. So I think there's a tremendous wealth of opportunities of ways that we can deliver value to our customers by perfecting those integrations.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations, Gordon. It's really good to see this kind of story. I love it when Artificial Lawyer sort of covers a company that's perhaps not so well known, and then a few years later you see that it's, you know, it's gone on to great things. So you know, congratulations. Well done.
Yeah, thank you very much, and yeah, thank you for, you know, covering us back in the day. That was really helped define the space of legal transaction management, and it's really exciting. You know, aside from how the success impacts us personally, but just to see, you know, finally this space is getting some recognition is a real thing, legal transaction management.
Well, actually, that actually, let me ask you an absolute last question very quickly.
Yeah.
Are there actually any legal transaction management systems left on the market? Because DealWhip has gone, gone. Doxley, Litera, iManage. Is anybody left?
Yeah, there's definitely some out there. I think there's a number that are at different levels of growth. Some that come to mind, I know in Australia, the Dockyard, and in the US, Simply Agree. In Canada, Deal Stage, I believe. So that, yeah, there's other entrants in the market. You know, I would reiterate, like, and I always say this, it sounds really trite, but our greatest competitor is status quo. It's just going to lawyers and convincing them, you know, to try running your system, running your deals on a new tool that's fairly nascent. And, you know, they're just worried about getting the next deal done. And the way they did it for the last 20 years has worked pretty well. And so you need to be like a lot better than that status quo workflow to win those people over, and you better not screw up. So,
Absolutely.
you know, I think there's tons of greenfield opportunity that, like, aside from fighting with competitors, you know, just getting the people to try a new solution. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, great to end on the note of let's end the status quo, which has always been my rallying cry. So
Hmm.
totally agree with you. Fantastic. All right, mate. Good luck. Have a good afternoon, and
All
look
right.
forward to hearing more about how the company develops.
Yeah. Thanks so much. Take care.